This episode of Meet the Coaches, we are talking to Jeffrey, aka McGrizzle. I hope you enjoy. Hey everybody! On this episode of Meet the Coaches, we're going to be talking to McGrizzle. McGrizzle, do you want to give us a little bit of an introduction about yourself?
Yep. Hello, I am McGrizzle, or Jeffrey as another name. I've been coaching for about 4 years, and I just love meeting new people and having fun.
Absolutely, yeah. So you said you've been coaching for 4 years. What made you want to start coaching? Why did you approach it?
Well, since some people can play, and I feel like some people can coach, and some people can do both. I'm not that person. I can only coach. So when I began playing Overwatch, I wanted to become Grandmaster, but over time I felt like I really couldn't get there. So instead, I thought since I love helping people, I would take my time, and every loss of the game, I would begin to write my thoughts down of the game and all that, get into it, and after a while, it turned into me coaching people, and I got better over time.
Absolutely, yeah. And so you joined GGBC relatively recently, if I remember correctly. What brought you to us?
Well, I was just searching online because I coached for about 2 years in Overwatch itself, like looking for a group, and I was thinking, there's discords and communities of people who need to be coached. Why not make it so I can coach people faster and on a more broad range instead of like in the United States alone, because that was the server I was in, and try to find a server where everyone can come to me and I can coach multiple people faster.
Absolutely, yeah. I actually just finished a session a couple minutes ago. We had to go 10 minutes past when we planned to do this, finishing a session with an Australian student. So I totally get what you mean. There's no way I ever would have been able to help them otherwise. You mentioned beforehand that this was going to be a little bit of a tough question for you, but I'm curious, what is your favorite hero to coach and why?
My favorite hero to coach, I would say, would be McCree, and I'll tell you why. Because I think the cowboy aspect of him is amazing, and I feel like he's like very underrated in the Overwatch society. Like, not enough people play him, and that's why I just love him so much. I have a lot of hours put into him.
Absolutely, he's got the flashbang and insane damage potential. I'll say I don't think back on the times in like season 2 when he was super overpowered and could kill Roadhogs with like a single right click. Those were not fun times. But I think he's in a great spot now. When you see students playing McCree, what do you see them messing up a lot?
Usually it's positioning, that they'll try to be very aggressive, and besides that, usually it's aim. But that's with a lot of heroes in Overwatch too. But a lot of times it's mainly the positioning. I see they're just too aggressive. They're putting themselves in front of their own Reinhardt, trying to headshot that Mercy in the backline, and then they end up dying in the end. It's very upsetting. Yeah. But I try to train them so they don't put themselves in that position.
Absolutely. And so when you're having these sessions and you're kind of teaching them to do that, what is the structure of your coaching session? What does a coaching session with you look like? How do you go about it?
I try to start off with the basics of what's the main role of the character. I mean, let me give you a quick example. You might, have a Mercy that's a healer, but you'll see Mercy's just, shooting people the entire game and not healing. I try to make sure you know that what your role is, who you should focus, and go about the basics of that hero, and I build off of that structure.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's really similar. I try to always make sure when I'm having students that they get, the purpose of the character, right? Because a lot of times they'll play a character like, for me, a ton of Zaryas, like it's a DPS character. Well, you're not a DPS character, right? That's not totally your role. And so if you know how you should be playing the purpose, I think that helps with figuring out how they should play when they're in a situation they haven't been in before, right? And I think that's really what defines a good player, is being able to adapt like that. Yeah. What has been your number one past coaching experience while at GGBC?
My number one was actually my first coaching experience. I got the pleasure of coaching a Masters player who was a McCree main, and it was I gotta say he was a really nice guy, and he had the same problem. It was mainly positioning. His aim was amazing, and he was such a nice guy, and he was working with his team, and I feel like we joked around like the entire game with each other while going over Rod review. And he was so fun to talk to, and I honestly hope to coach him again in the future.
Yeah, that's always the best. I love students that are, talkative and active and are cracking jokes too. I think some of my best coaching sessions has been with people who like are willing to take a punch, for lack of a better term.
Yes.
And they're willing to kind of get roasted and be like, yeah, I'm stupid.
Yeah.
you know. I think that those sessions are always just a ton of fun. Yeah, I totally get what you mean, and those are a lot of fun. Well, this has been a pretty straightforward interview. Thank you so much for coming on. Do you have anything that you want to shameless plug? Maybe a Twitter, Instagram, anything like that?
I do have an Instagram. Hold on. Sorry. I mean it's McGrizzle underscore McCree Pro 76 is my Instagram, but I usually use it for just helping coach people through it as well, like to reach out to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, all those links will be in the description. Jeff, thank you so much for coming on. This has been great.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Have a great day.